I'm glad it's over. I thought we were average at best. I thought it was by far our worst performance of the year. Didn't think that we did many consecutive things on either end of the floor very well. Disappointed as a group, disappointed in them individually. Did not play us on either end of the floor, and until we can do that, we'll struggle to have a lot of success.
Bad timing. I mean, it's never a good time to play poorly, but you know, two days away, is it kind of a bad tone?
Who knows? It's never a good time to play Duke. It's probably the right way to say it. I think that they're good enough to be an above 500 team in the NBA, not the NCAA. And so we'll have our hands full, but we've got a lot of work to do between now and Monday night. Just wish that we could start stringing some things together. And we were really good this morning. We were really good. Maybe one of the best 2 or 3 practices we've had yesterday. Just as soon as I make subs, it just we can't do what we need to do on both ends of the floor. So,
what's the biggest maybe 1 or 2 things right now as a coach that's concerning to you moving forward with this team?
Turnovers. We're playing a lot of people, and I understand that, and I understand that it's all new to them for the most part. But I just think when you give the ball away, typically it leads to transition points for the opponent, and those are points that you cannot defend against. And obviously, I think we're doing a pretty good job with field goal percentage. So when you give the ball away, that's one less shot that you have. And then the second thing is, from a defensive perspective, would just we call it too flat. So in other words, they're just able to reverse the ball and throw the ball wherever they want. We're not high on the floor. We're too flat, and so we've got to be playing above the boards of the guy that we're guarding, not below.
What's the status of Gardner? I know he left early in the first.
Yeah, I don't know. First possession he was in, we threw it to him. He turned into the kid, hurt his shoulder. He wore some sort of, fancy treatment deal. But I haven't had a chance to try to find out exactly what it is.
Do you have any more detail on Joe's condition at this point?
Yeah, obviously it was drained. He took a shot. We'll see if the enzyme in the shot helps him. But I don't know. I'm not as confident as those people, the doctors are, on when he'll be able to play and when he'll be able to play at the level he was playing at. That's a different set of problems with his knee than it was the first time. But, that kind of speaks to his knee problems. When it's a completely different knee and a completely different set of problems, it's just, I don't know, man.
Cartilage as far as you understand?
0. He has 0 cartilage. I do know that.
And that's probably part of the problem.
He has 0 cartilage, and then the ligaments in between the fibia and the tibia are both cracked. And so in the MRI, there is no cartilage. The ligaments are torn on the anterior and the medial. And so when it goes bone to bone, and so there's fragments in the MRI, but they don't know fragments of what. Is it fragments of the ligament? Is it fragments of the bone, which leads to microfracture surgery, where they actually bust it so it'll grow. So I don't know. We'll see. Disappointed, man. He's like my son, and I know everybody knows that. And he's not the best player in our league, but he's a really important guy to our culture. And I just wanted him to be able to go out in the best way that he could, whatever that is. And so, all those kids are excited to go to Kansas City, and there's a kid that's followed me all across the country, and I'm saying, hey, man, you got to take that shot, and we'll see how it happens. And if the shot doesn't work, then we'll figure something else out. So, but that's part of it.
We've been talking about all the depth that you have. This is obviously where it comes into play, correct?
Yeah. Well, it helps. I want our depth, Todd, or our supposed depth, to be able to execute. Otherwise, it's bad depth. You know what I mean? And it's not just those guys coming off the bench. It's the guys that are on the floor when we sub, leading those guys that are coming into the game. It's collectively, it's all of us. And I told them that during the last time out. Which of you guys are bad players? Which one of you is the worst player? Which one of you is the best player? then all of you ought to be able to do us. However I mix and match. And we just didn't do very good with that today.
Chris made some strong moves down the low post. What'd you like out of him today?
If we were playing half court, he'd be all conference. But that's the problem. We're not playing. It's not hoop it up back home. You have to be able to guard a ball screen anymore this day and age, which is why there's not such the focus on signing big, huge guys, because they can't guard a ball screen, so they're in a blender the whole possession. And I love what he is offensively. I love what Devontae is offensively. But as I tell them, can you guard a ball screen on the other end, or are you just going to be a big kid that stands down there and stands behind the post? Because if you are, you won't get to play as much as you think that you will.
I've got to think the way you coach and the way you approach these guys, a game like this against Duke coming up where there's so much focus on their number one, defending national champions. This is the kind of game you probably have to love as a coach, motivationally, preparation-wise. Is that right? Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I never thought that I'd get to play against Coach Boots at South Dakota. Just to be real frank, I introduced myself to Coach Orr the first day I was a college student, and my dream was to be the coach at Navarro College. And so I don't take any of it for granted, no matter the name of the jersey. I think what happens is, because we go so fast, and when our schedule comes out in August, everybody's like, oh, they're playing Duke. Well, I'm fired up about playing Prairie View, So, yeah, I'm excited to go to Kansas City. I'm excited to see where we're at, good or bad. It's character revealed. But I think it was character revealed today, too, against South Dakota. And that's where the gap in our maturity has got to get better.
When you talk about that maturity, though, is the challenge going to be to try and get these guys to understand that it's not the name on the jersey. CJ talked about a little bit before. It's the personnel and who you have to defend.
Yeah, I'm probably bad at hyping or overhyping because I just don't get into that. That's number one, that's number two, that's 22, that's 30. I mean, that's how we refer to all the guys. I know our players know, but maybe I should buy into the notoriety that will come from playing them, but I don't, because I think that we've got to continue to get better, and my focus is always on our team.
Through 4 games, these first 4 were kind of almost preparing you for these 2 coming up. How would you assess your team in these first 4?
Well, I like a lot of what we've done. I've been encouraged. I'm discouraged now by some of the things we did today. I know that's part of it. I typically hide it better than I have in the press conference, but we've played 4, in a way, unique styles. Bucknell and South Dakota would definitely be the closest to the 2, and not the same personnel, but Duke plays a lot like South Dakota does. Plays a lot like Bucknell, where it's a lot of ball screens and the sides empty or the sides loaded. Obviously, Prairie View plays really fast, and Green Bay is kind of a combination of those teams. So I think that the schedule part of it has been good relative to the preparation involved. All of those new guys trying to figure out how to absorb a scouting report, how to execute a scouting report. I think it's been healthy.